Have you ever walked past something beautiful, something that once amazed you, and you don't even take notice of it anymore? Inspiration for this episode actually comes from a post that I saw where this girl was sitting on the beach in her hometown, and she felt it was nothing special, felt like her life was very mundane. When she sees this lady run up onto the beach in awe, the lady then turns to her and says, "I've never been to the ocean. I've always wanted to see the ocean," and continues to explore with so much joy. And she makes a comment about how, in this scenario, her and this lady are on the same beach, but having entirely different experiences of the beach. And it brought me to this idea that your experience in life is not about what's in front of you, it's about how you choose to perceive it. If you want to learn how your perspective shapes your daily life, how to break out of numbness, and how simple shifts can increase the joy in your day-to-day living, this is for you. See, your brain is like a supercomputer. It's constantly working to adapt to lower your energy expenditure so that you're able to use your brain for longer periods of time. One of the most simple and basic adaptations is our brain's ability to adapt to repetition. A very simple example of this is how a lot of us, we can see our nose. If you look straight, you can see your nose. But obviously, that data is not pertinent to our brain. It takes energy that is unnecessary to take notice of our nose. So we blur it out. We might not see it while we're looking forward, but our brain actually does see it. It just negates that information. This adaptation to repetition also occurs in so many day-to-day aspects. For example, say you're driving to your new office for the first time. You take into account every detail of that drive. But after the first few times driving, you start driving on autopilot. You know the roads, you know the direction and the destination, and you start driving. You stop looking at the world around you. Now, in some ways, this adaptation to repetition is beneficial. But if we aren't consciously aware of how our human nature impacts us, then we cannot adjust to the current state of the world. We're living as if we still live in the jungles in nature, when in reality we're in this concrete society, which requires a completely different mode of living in many ways than what we're used to in survival of the fittest. So while this adaptation to repetition is beneficial in these small processes, it tends to hinder us in many ways too. For example, if you live by the beach, when you first start living by the beach, you notice that beach every single day, and you're grateful for the beauty in that beach every single day. And then after a time, you stop looking at the beach with the same amount of awe. You stop seeing that inherent beauty and just see it as part of your day-to-day life. You're no longer satisfied by that experience. It's a neural adaptation. The more you see something, the less your brain will pay attention to it. And you stop noticing things that once amazed you and brought you immense joy. Your family, your relationships, your home, your daily experiences. A great personal example for me is when I had started doing hot yoga. The first 6 months, I was so grateful every day that I got to go to yoga class. I loved the vibes, I loved the experience, I felt so much gratitude every day. Then somewhere along the lines, it became an accustomed part of my routine. And I stopped enjoying the experience of it, if that makes sense. Instead of enjoying the experience, it became another task in my day. Okay, I have to go to yoga class. And I lost the joy in it. And I think for anything in life, to have longevity, you have to have joy in it. But having joy in it is about how you perceive it, not what's in front of you. You see this all the time. Sometimes the poorest of people that live in the most rundown of houses have the biggest smiles on their faces and are constantly happy. Why? Because so many of these people in these scenarios choose to make the best of what is available to them. They choose to see the joy in everyday life. They enjoy the simple things. And I'm a big advocate for the point that life, in its essence, is actually all the small moments. Grand moments, big moments, grand gestures, whatever it might be, are all great, but life is made up of the small moments. And if you don't enjoy the small moments, if you only enjoy these random big moments that happen a couple times a year maybe, then you're taking so much away from yourself and living a dangerously negative life because all your joy hinders on these few events. Whereas some people don't have any grand events in the year, but they're much happier than you because each day they wake up grateful to be alive, grateful to have a new day, grateful for all the small joys the day brings. It kind of reminds me of drugs in a way, in that you have a tolerance. Your tolerance to small joys quickly increases, and you start to see them as normal, and you're chasing a new high. What's the next joy that I can get? Say, for example, you always dreamed about living alone. You dreamed about it, you finally got your place and you live alone. The first year, you love it. It's amazing. It's everything that you could have dreamed of, and you're always grateful. And then somewhere along the first year to second year, you start finding the joy in it. You start thinking, oh, well, what if I lived in a nicer place? Or what if I lived in a bigger place? Or what if I lived in a place in a different country or in a different state? And all of these might be valid points in their own way. However, just because you have somewhere to go doesn't mean you can't enjoy where you're at. It's about remembering all the joy that a thing brings you. Because you could have been dreaming about living alone for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, whatever it might be. But then 1 year into it and you're already looking at the next horizon. What next? What next? What next? The high doesn't hit the same. However, unlike drugs, you don't need to take more drugs to feel that high. You just need to shift your perspective. And that shift in perspective comes from a few different things. One is reminding yourself of the initial joy. Capture that feeling like a firefly in a bottle and remember it. Remember the joy you felt and the excitement you felt to achieve this thing. And then enjoy the moments. Even like coffee. For example, someone could be a coffee connoisseur and buy themselves a nice, fancy little coffee machine. And they love that coffee machine for the first 6 months, and then they forget about it, even if they were dreaming about buying that coffee machine for a year or two. But you can always come back to that joy. It's about finding joy in the present moment. So one, remember why that thing originally brought you joy. The second thing is be present in the moment. Enjoy the ritual of the experience. If it's making coffee, enjoy your ritual of making coffee. Take note with all your senses, sight, smell, taste, touch. How does it feel when you grind the coffee and you put the coffee in the espresso machine? What does it smell like when the coffee starts to drip into your cup? What does it taste like when you take that first sip of coffee in the morning? What does it feel like to hold the hot cup in your hand? And I'm not a big fan of comparing myself to other people, but I think humility and gratitude are very important. So in these moments, it's also about thinking about how lucky you are that you can have a hot cup of coffee in the morning and make it exactly the way you want with your nice coffee machine. Because some people, as morbid as it sounds, some people can't even get clean drinking water. And in this digital world, we're so focused on what everybody else has that we do not. We completely forget about everything we have that other people do not, and all the small and quiet luxuries of a safe and peaceful life that we have. It might not be perfect. There might be ways to go. There's always a way to go, okay? If you look at life as how much can I achieve, you will never be satisfied because there's always more that you could achieve. And if that's your basis of measuring whether or not you're happy with your life, you will always be discontent with your life because there will always be more to achieve. But a way to feel consistently grateful for your life while still working towards more, it doesn't mean that you don't have to work towards more. Work towards more, but instead of comparing yourself to all these people that you perceive have better than you, just because maybe they present it better on social media or they flaunt it more, reality is you have no idea what other people are going through or what their actual lives are like. the inner workings of their lives, you have no idea. Regardless of that fact, though, you can still aim for more, but don't compare yourself to people that you think have better than you or more than you in whatever way, shape, or form. Whether it is that they have nicer cars, whether it is that they have a better relationship in your eyes, whether it is that they live in a country that you want to live in, regardless. Try to look at it in a opposing way, which is, what is it that I have that so many people in this world wish they could have? And so this is how I kind of think about it. When I'm in a moment and I'm feeling particularly dreary or dreadful or just bad vibes, I'll start to think in every small event of my life, making my coffee, going to the gym, getting dressed, taking my shower. I'll think about how many things do I have in these small, quiet moments that people would kill for? People would pray and pray and pray and pray for. Having a hot shower. I can have a hot shower whenever I want. That is such a beautiful blessing. Such a beautiful blessing. Clean drinking water. I have clean drinking water. I live in California, being able to go to the beach. Such a beautiful experience to go to the beach. And if you live in California, there are two types of people. There are the people that actually really go to the beach all the time. And there are the people that live in California, always hear about the beaches, never go to the beach though. But you know what? It comes back to the normalization of something. If you didn't live in a city that had a beach, you would always think about the beach. You'd miss the beach, you'd crave the beach because it's not there for you. But a lot of times, a lot of us get so wrapped up in our daily life that even if, say, you move to California for the beaches, you don't even enjoy the beaches after a while. The novelty wears off. But you're so lucky to live by the beach. And by the beach, relative, I mean, 30-minute, 40-minute drive is still by the beach. You know? It's still in your city. Or like even little things. Buying a new gym outfit, wearing your gym outfits. A lot of times we'll see people online and we'll be like, oh, but I wish I had those sets, but they're too expensive, or I wish I had this thing, or I wish I had that thing. Some people have such an urge to keep up that they'll go into massive, massive credit card debt or do very questionable things to get the funds to achieve these means. But again, stop looking at all these things. Open your closet and look at what you have. Look at how lucky you are that you have the things you already have. It's not a sin or wrong to want more, okay? Want more, it's fine. But don't want more at the sacrifice of your current joy. Don't want more so bad that your eyes are so firmly fixed on what you don't have that you negate what you do have. Because this life, we all think we're going to live a long life. And God willing, you live a very long and healthy and fruitful life. But the reality is, life is so fleeting. Life is so fleeting, and there is a fine line between wanting more and appreciating what you have. Especially in a capitalistic society, we focus so much on wanting more because that's what everything is gearing us towards. Whether it's social media, whether it's ads, whether it's any other form of marketing, whatever it might be, in a capitalistic community or society, we are constantly being driven to operate from a position and mode of lack. What do I not have that I should have? Oh, if you get this set, you'll feel confident in your body. If you get this skincare brand, you'll feel like you have clear skin. If you do this hair treatment, you'll feel like you love your hair. Or this is the one thing missing from your life, and if you have this one thing, everything is going to be better. Bro, nothing, save for God, has the singular power to completely improve your life. It might feel good to buy the thing, and trust me, I get it. I love to shop. I love to shop. Okay, so I get it. It's nice to get a new thing. You feel so excited. You want to buy more. It feels good. You go ka-ching, it feels good. Okay? But again, positioning yourself in life to always want for more and not to appreciate what you have is sad, because it's like a hamster on a wheel. You never stop running. You always think that, if I just get this last thing, if I just do this one thing, if I just have this one thing, then all of a sudden I can take a break on this hamster wheel. I can get off and I can relax and I can enjoy time with my family. But the reality is, you will always be running on that hamster wheel if you cannot find gratitude for what it is you already have. You have to make the decision to step off the wheel. There's not a moment in time that you'll feel like, oh, I have everything I need, I have enough. It is in our human nature to want for more. There are people that don't want for more, but most of us, we do want for more. Even the people who quote unquote don't want for more are honestly just so broken down, I think, by this life in many ways. And want for more does not have to be financial. It could be in any aspect of your life, whether it be wanting to start a farm, whether it be wanting to have a family, wanting to have that special perfect relationship. But that being said, you do yourself no favors by yearning for something that you didn't have or that you don't have. And even in actions and experiences. Okay, say for example, you want to live in the big city, but right now you live by the ocean. Okay, you can still want to live by the big city, but appreciate the fact that you live by the ocean. Or say, even if you live in a farm town, okay, you might want to move to the big city, and that might be the right move for you. That wanting part in and of itself is not inherently bad, but the way you position yourself, if all you focus on is, I want to live in the big city, all my life would be better if I lived in the big city. Everything would be better. I would feel better. I'd be happier. I wouldn't be depressed because I don't live in my little small farm town. Okay, so what? You're just going to keep yourself depressed all this time until you can live your big city dreams? What a waste of time. Okay, work towards your big city dreams, but find the beauty in your day-to-day life. Because I guarantee you, no matter what you think right now, because when you live in the same place your whole life, you always want to escape. When you live in a small town vibe, you always want to escape. But once you leave, there are going to be things you miss. And you're going to realize that you didn't appreciate all the small joys that you had in your life now when you go off to live your big city life. And that big city life that you think is going to be so glamorous is going to come with its own hardships. Which isn't to say that you shouldn't appreciate that life too, but we tend to glamorize the things we want. We tend to give them so much power that, oh, if I achieve this thing, if I move here, if I have this relationship, if I have this, I don't know, pet, whatever it might be, then everything will click. I'll have that aha moment and I'll be happy. But that's not how life works. There's never once been a situation where I've yearned for something so deeply and felt that it has significantly and substantially altered my life. Yes, there are things that have changed my life for the better, but not in the way that I had perceived it would when yearning for it. You get me? This is something children are particularly good at because they're seeing everything through fresh eyes. Children will find joy in anything. They have imagination, they have excitement for all the things life has to offer. The thing I think that's hardest to hold on to as we become adults is childlike joy. It's why we're so reminiscent of our childhood, not necessarily because our childhood was sunshines and rainbows and lollipops, but because childhood symbolizes joy. We remember how everything seemed brighter and more exciting. And the reality is, none of these things changed. It's not that places became less bright or less exciting, it's that our lenses dimmed. A great example of this is there was this playground that I used to go to as a kid, and I remember it being this huge magical place to play. And I loved it, and it was like the best thing ever. 10 years later, I go into that same mall and I see the playground, and it looks so sad and dreary and drab. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe I thought this place was so shiny. But this is a great example of perspective. As a kid, I was able to see the joy. I didn't see the cracks. I didn't see the imperfections, all these things that we're conditioned to see through society and social media. Oh, these are all the ways this thing is wrong or imperfect or not enough. No, I, as a child, saw everything that was enough. I saw all the joy and the exploration and the excitement of the place. And you can do this in so many aspects of your life. I mean, you can do this with making your coffee, like I said. You can do this with going to the gym. You can do this with seeing your friends, with seeing your family, with seeing your partner, whatever it might be. All it takes is a shift in perspective. What would you feel if you saw this from fresh eyes? Remember that feeling. It's kind of like when you travel to a new place and everything seems sharper and brighter. It's not because you're in a different country, it's because you're present in your experience. When you travel, you're so present because you're drinking in everything that's unfamiliar. See that wonder when you travel? You can have that wonder in your day to day life. You just have to shift your perspective. A simple way to do this, I think, is asking yourself the question or practicing the exercise, what if this was the last time? What if this was the last time I ever got to do this thing? Whether it's hugging your parents, whether it's hanging out with your friends, whether it's reading or swimming in the ocean or walking your dog. What if it was the last time you got to do that thing? How would that shift your perspective? Because again, life is fleeting. We all love to think we have so much time. I think this is one of the major trappings of us as people in general. We think we have so much time, but in reality, we do not. No time is guaranteed. God hasn't even guaranteed that we'll wake up the next morning. Every night of sleep is a gamble. We're just, again, normalize that gamble, and so we don't see it for what it is. Each day really is a fresh day. It really is a blessing to be alive, especially in today with all the medicine and technology that has advanced over the years. We take things like our health for granted. I think in some ways, people just knew how to live so much more. And that's why we had such great art and poetry and music and just life, literature. Because at that time, mortality rates were crazy. Kids were dying left, right, and center. The whole concept of a birthday, for example, is to celebrate that you made it another year. Why we celebrate birthdays is because for a very long time, it really was a gamble if you would make it to the next year. I think when you live with that kind of awareness of your mortality, you live life more presently and more fully. You're not so focused on the future because you don't even know if that future is going to be there for you. What we make the mistake of doing in today's day and age is assuming that we have so much time to plan and think about the future. This is not to say don't plan. In life, to be well prepared, you plan for all scenarios, right? That being said, you also have to limit yourself to ensure that you're also enjoying the present moment. Because the present day and present moment, this moment right now that you're listening to this, you'll never get this moment back. You'll never be this young or this old ever again. It's like a crazy thing, but if you actually think about those words, don't just hear them, think about them. That in this moment, you'll never get this moment back again. And then think about that in every single aspect of what you do. Things can change at a flip of a hat. Or is it a flip of a coin? Toss of a hat, flip of a coin? Anyways, things can change, okay? Appreciate everything you have when you have them. I met this girl. She was dating this guy since high school. Love of her life. Amazing, fairy tale and rainbow, whatever. He died in a motorcycle accident when she was 21 years old. And they had a whole life together planned. Okay, not to get morbid on you, not to say that you're going to die, God forbid, but it's just saying, again, to reiterate the point that nothing in life is guaranteed. You have to cherish the people you have when you have them. You have to cherish the things you have as you have them. Because gratitude and appreciation is useless when looking back. Yes, it might feel good to feel grateful and whatever about your past, but it does no benefit to the person you are in this moment. And you don't want to look back at your life and think, dang, why did I put myself through so much and not enjoy the day today? When really, in hindsight, you were being so hard on yourself. Gratitude is an action word. In this way, I think a lot of how gratitude is being talked about on social media is always about, hey, in the morning, write what it is you're grateful for. Or at night, write what it is you're grateful for. This is all great, yeah? It does help. But I think what helps actually change your day to day life is to think in the moment with gratitude. Be present with gratitude. Don't think, oh, today I'm grateful that I had a cup of coffee. Today I'm grateful that I XYZ. Okay, that's great. But in the moment that you're drinking the coffee, you don't get the benefit of that gratitude in the moment when you wait until the nighttime to acknowledge it. In the moment, as you're drinking your cup of coffee, feel the sensations, the warmth in your hand, the steam coming from the cup, the smell, the taste, the feeling as the coffee goes down. Or when you're with your friends, the laughter, the joy, the silly inside jokes, even when they annoy you, the annoying things, like all of it. Family too. Family is very difficult, you know? They trigger the most intense of emotions in you. But still, if you have contact with your family, if it's not too complicated, find the good things. Find the joy in it, because at the end of the day, the only thing you're promised in this life is that you're going to die. And it's not even promised when you're going to die. You don't have a countdown to know exactly when that's going to happen. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen in a year. It could happen in 10 years, or it could happen in 50 years. God knows, God willing. That being said, stop living life as if you have all this time to be so focused on the future that you're miserable in the present moment. Shift your perspective and enjoy the present moment. Pay attention. When I walk my dog, I notice, especially when I get busy in life, I start to ignore the small beauties of life. And so when I walk my dog, it's a beautiful walk. Like, the greenery is beautiful and I should enjoy it. A lot of times I'll just sit on my phone, or even if I'm looking, I'm not actually seeing. I'm looking through, my mind is somewhere else. So I'll practice when I'm walking her, looking at the trees and looking at the beautiful flowers and taking little pictures of the squirrels. Taking pictures really helps. Find the beautiful things in your day and take pictures of them. The flower growing in the crack, the cup of coffee that you enjoyed, the dinner that you made, you all cozy in your pajamas in the mirror after a nice, long, hot shower. These are photos for you to remind yourself of those moments of joy. Because when I look back at old photos, yeah, I enjoy the photos of me with friends or whatever, or out and about. But truly, some of the most enjoyable things to look back on are these random little moments that I took snapshots of just for me. Not for any social media, not for anyone else, just me doing things for me. And then I look back and it gives me a really great idea of what my life was like and all the joy that I had in my life. And it kept me present. Because once you start saying, okay, let me take pictures of beautiful things, let me pay attention to the beauty in the world, you naturally shift to focus on those things. You start seeking beauty and joy in the world. You start being present in every experience. The point is, you don't need a new life to feel alive. You can feel alive with the life you currently have just by shifting your perspective and seeing your current life differently. I challenge you to one thing. I challenge you to choose one ordinary thing, whether it be making breakfast, hanging out with a loved one, taking a walk, whatever it might be. And this week, go into that experience as if it was your first time or as if it was your last time. And see how your perspective completely shifts. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel weird. Just do it. Because once you break through that initial barrier of awkward and weird, honestly, it gets freaking great. So just take the leap of faith and try it. All of these things sounded silly to me before I started doing them, and now I'm so much better off because of them. The most harm that you can do if you try is it doesn't work. There's no harm to you. There's no investment to you. There's no potential for loss if you try it and it doesn't work out. But if you don't try it, you have the potential to lose out on so much just because you were too stubborn to try something new. So try that something new and let me know in the comments how you enjoyed it. I think that's everything I had to say about the episode today. Hopefully this all made sense. If not, I apologize. Anyhow, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out. Bye.